So the new map for here, and we have an 8 Kai discipline to figure out today. So at this point,
establishing dominance.
we can learn, we can go combat, or we can get kind of the final story-based one. Dauntless Damsel. The bearer of this scroll, namely Dauntless Damsel, nominated Strauss the artist, and is now an initiate of the disciplines of the Kai. Almost done by pissing on something. Yeah, no, we talked about not pissing on things. Established this with the treasure chest. Artist, yes. So we finished up last session. Got and brought him back home. Okay. So as far as disciplines of the Kai goes, we can either finish off with the rest of the sneaky bits and get hunting. Because that's like the one of the non-combat ones we don't have. So it's like we have camouflage. We don't have hunting. We have Sixth Sense, tracking, healing. We have Mind Shield, Animal Kinship, Mind Over Matter. So literally the only thing left is either Mind Blast, which will give us +2 to our combat, especially since we lost that to freezing our hand off. Weapon skill, to which we have to roll a chance of getting either short sword, sword, or broadsword. And if we get one of those, then we'll get a +2 to our summer sword. Those are the two combat ways of, or we can go with hunting. Vote, it seems to be for hunting. All right, hunting it is. Slow mentioning established dominance, and I had to go potty immediately after to actually pat myself. Weast for life. All right. So let me find bloop and click on settings. So now we have hunting. There we go. The announcement lady so loud. Yep. Tell her to hush. All right. So established our new Kai discipline. So all that will be left will be combat ones after this. So let's get the story so far. Ruanan is a remote mining province to the south of your homeland, Summerland, nestling between the sullen peaks of the Dern Crag and the Macken Mountains. The people of this province have long prospered from the toil in the ore-rich mines, living and enjoying their wealth under the protection of their lord, Baron Vanalund. The gold and gems that are mined at Ruanan yield an important source of revenue to your homeland. The heavily guarded convoy of wagons that leave the province and journey to the capital have become a regular monthly routine. A routine that has never been broken until 1 month ago, when suddenly, all contact with Ruinon ceased. A troop of 100 cavalry with the King's Guard were immediately dispatched to investigate the whereabouts of the missing convoy. Their commanding officer, Captain Duval, was ordered to report back to the king as soon as contact was made, but he and his men have not returned. They too have disappeared without a trace. The king has summoned you, Lone Wolf, last of the Kai Lords, to his citadel at Holmgard. Your quest is to find Captain Duval and his men, discover what has happened to the missing convoy, and to uncover the veil of mystery that now hangs over Ruinon. The king has gathered a company of border rangers, a unit of elite scouts, all of whom are skilled in horsemanship and outdoor survival. He has ordered these 50 men to accompany you in the hope that, with your leadership, they may succeed where the larger and more visible force failed. As you and your men enter the royal armory to equip yourselves for the long ride ahead, you glimpse a black crow perched on a window ledge high above. It flies away, but not before a shiver has run down your spine. In Holmgard, the crow is a bird of ill omen. Oh yeah, Mike was on there. I'm bored in 30 minutes. Okay. Curse yourself in dust. The P itself established dominance over you. P goes you. Ooh. Especially in Russia, you do not go P. P goes you. Alright. So we have our established. So now, knowing this, we can go into our equipment. Before leaving Holmgard, on your ride south, you are given a map of the Southlands, a badge of rank that you wear upon the sleeve of your tunic, and a pouch of gold. To find out how much gold is in the pouch, pick a number from the random number table. Now add 10 to the number you've picked. So, let's see how much gold we get. I guess we'll add 16 to it. That's what we got right now. Ooh! We're getting 11. Not great. Not great. Kind of overall not great. But we have 27, which is a little over half of the maximum amount our gold pouch can hold. Yeah, at least we didn't get a 0, because then we just gotten 10 gold straight up. It's like rolling a 2 instead of a nat 1. That's the emote to get. Rolling like a 1. Have a die with its like a 1 on it. That's the emote. Let's see. You may take your pick of the following items, in addition to those you already possess, but remember you may only carry 2 weapons. You may take up to 6 of the following. Wow, 6. Phew. They're expecting you to lose some stuff. Now here's the trick. I would suggest trading out the chainmail waistcoat from the padded waistcoat, because we have a padded leather waistcoat that gives us 2 endurance points. This one gives us 4. We can get 2 potions of lamp sewer, backpack items, 5 special rations. Each of these special rations count as 1 meal. Each one takes up to 1 space in your backpack. Jeez. So not a lot of options this time around. But this is kind of to make up for the fact that, for those that haven't... Yeah, trade that shirt out. That's what I'm thinking, too. Instead of map of Summerlin, map of Kalti, you know, just assume that we have the maps of all the maps. So what I'm going to do is just kind of maps, all the maps. And then trade out chainmail, waistcoat. And that gives a +4. So now we'll have 28 endurance points. Not bad. Now, we already have weapons. We're full up on weapons. We should still have a shield. Yep, we have a shield. We have a shield, a helmet, a waistcoat. So we're good up on that. That pretty much just leaves... I'm guessing we want 2 potions and fill the rest up with our special rations. Do we want to get... So, actually, the question is, do we want to get rid of the rope or do we want to keep the rope? The rope takes up 2 spots. I can hear her squeaking the other side of the house. But we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 slots open in our backpack. We always need rope. Okay. Yeah. They can hear you squeaking. So I'm thinking 2 potions and the rest meals. Well, so you can see directly south of us. Now we have hunting. To break your squeaker again, yeah. We know that the wildlands are not a suitable place to hunt. But that's not to say that there isn't hunting to be done everywhere else. I don't even know if we go through the wildlands. But I figure that's 3 potions and 3 meals, plus we can hunt if necessary. And if we need to toss something out of our backpack to make room for something interesting, we always can. And while we do heal, sometimes having a large, like, chunk, like, especially if we're down to, like, 1 endurance point, the healing, we only heal 1 endurance point per page turn. So using one of them to gain 5 or 4 endurance points would be a good way to survive. Mountain, best to keep rope. Okay. Okay. The whole consensus between polls and the hashtags that are still here seem to be going with the first option, so we'll just go ahead and do that. Boom. Ta-da. Alright, so let's go ahead and grab... So... do it like that. Control copy. Paste. Paste. And then... come on. Just updating the backpack right now. Right, then I can put 3 meals in. I have a feeling a lot's going to happen by the fact that they're so well equipping us. All right. All right, a little bit of Kai wisdom to get us started. Your mission will be fraught with danger, for you are about to venture into the bleak and hostile wildlands of the south. Use the map at the front of the book to help you plot your course to Ruinon. Make note as you progress through the story, for they will be of great help in future adventures. Many things you find will aid you during your adventure. Some special items will be of use in future Lone Wolf adventures, and others may be red herrings of no real use at all, so be selective in what you decide to keep. There are several routes to Ruinon, but only one will enable you to reach the mining town and find Captain Duval with a minimum of danger. A wise choice of Kai disciplines and great deal of courage should enable any player to complete the mission, no matter how weak his initial combat skill and endurance point score. Successful completion of previous Lone Wolf feature adventures is not essential for the success of this quest. Good luck. So let's get some foresty going. There we go. That sounds good. For 3 days, you lead your brave company of rangers across the lush plains of southern Summerlin on the first stage of your urgent mission. The flat, treeless fields surround you with a seemingly endless expanse of wheat, so high that even though you are in a saddle, it reaches well above your knees. Your horse seems to be swimming through a vast yellow sea of corn that is only interrupted by an occasional track or group of isolated farmhouses. The Southerners welcome your sudden appearance, but you only make the briefest stops for food and rest, neither wishing to risk becoming a burden nor alarm these good people with your mission. By noon on the 4th day, you reach the pass of Moitura. Here, the plains give way to the broken foothills of the Derncrag Mountains. You soon reach a highway, the surface cracked and full of potholes, heading off towards the south. This is the notorious Ruinon Pike. South of the pass, the Ruinon Pike crosses 100 miles of open territory known as Raiders Road. Bandit tribes from the wildlands and Gaiac warbands from the mountains of the west frequently ambush those who travel along the pike. And the regular shipment of gold and gems from the mines at Ruinon have sometimes yielded rich pickings for these merciless robbers. Point and flankers, you shout, and immediately 3 groups of rangers peel away from your column and spur their horses to a gallop. You watch with pride as the expert horsemen take up their scouting positions to the front and the side of the company. It is late afternoon when a ranger scout approaches the company from the west. He points towards a craggy outcrop with a thin spiral of wood smoke, betraying a hut hidden beneath the overhanging rock. If you wish to investigate the hut, turn to 160. If you wish to ignore the hut and continue on your riding along the Ruinon Pike, turn to 273. But we are going to investigate the hut. Artists, you are welcome to check out the VOD, see how it goes. Just remember to fast forward to 1 hour and 33 minutes, or whenever you go on. So if you go on around 140 or 145, that would be your marker. No, I'm sorry. They're probably trying to make up for all that money lost, packing people in. More so than before. An escort of 5 rangers accompanies you along the twisted, narrow track that leads to the hut. The rough stone walls are covered with a damp moss into which is set a curious oval door. There are no windows. You have dismounted and are approaching the door when suddenly a man's voice calls from inside the hut. Come in, Lone Wolf. I've been expecting you. So, yeah, they are. Okay. So, if you wish to open the door and enter, turn to 84. If you wish to draw your weapon and kick open the door, turn to 205. If you wish to send your rangers into the hut, turn to 306. So we have the choices of enter, attack, or scouts. I probably should put rangers, but they're kind of, the word is being used interchangeably. It seems like maybe not attacking would be the best idea, but I'm not sure if maybe the rangers or opening the door ourselves, like just like, you know what? If we're gonna die this early, we might as well. That's my thought, anyways. Might as well show good faith, considering he knows who we are. He's probably some sort of soothsayer. Dead. Where is it? Dead. Need to grab dinner. All right, Dream. Have fun. So there's one vote for entering. I'm thinking of seeing if I can find an extension that will actually like display the results of polls on the screen. That might actually be a good idea. All right. We have one vote to enter, so we're going to turn to 84. Figure I set it for 2 minutes. It gives me time to kind of chat about the decisions and give people a chance to enter. Okay, so 84 shows this image. Ah, so I was right. It's a sage of some kind. In the dim light of the interior, you see an old man seated at a table. The flicker of a log fire is all that illuminates this foul-smelling hovel, yet it sheds enough light for you to see the clutter of charts and strange instruments that crowd the hut. The man slowly raises his gaze from a large crystal sphere and bids you to sit opposite him. You know my name. How? You ask warily. The stars foretold our meeting long ago, Lone Wolf, he replies, slowly passing his withered old hand around the sphere. Be not alarmed by my knowledge, for I wish only to aid you. Well, that's good. He produces a small scroll of parchment from within his robe, and he hands it to you. Upon the scroll is written the following verse. When the full moon shines o'er the temple deep, a sacrifice will stir from sleep. The legion of a long-forgotten lord. When a fair royal maid on the altar dies, the dead of Mackengorge shall rise to claim their long-awaited reward. You ask the meaning of the strange verse, but the old man does not answer you. He seems to have fallen into a deep trance. You lean across the cluttered table to awaken him, and are shocked to see your hand pass straight through his body. Gradually, his image begins to fade. Within seconds, he He has disappeared completely. You place the scroll in your pocket. Mark this as a special item. You quickly leave the hut, passing only to wipe the cold sweat from your brow. Well, dang. It's a good thing we stopped for this. We get a scroll and ominous beginning. All right, turn to 273. Oh, look, another image. That guy always creeped me out, though. Like, I know he's just like, ah, but the way they draw, it's like, I love this guy's art, but at the same time, it's like creepy as heck. Which is, I guess, why I like it, because this is very much a like a gothic fantasy. Like, it's fantasy, it's fantastic, but at the same time, it is filled with danger and horror and crazy people and all sorts of untrustworthy things. So that's the gothic part of it. And the art kind of matches that concept. You have ridden less than 5 miles when you see a group of wagons on the highway ahead. They are painted in a gaudy mix of bright colors and drawn team of oxen. A huge tasseled banner flies above the leading wagon, which bears the following proclamation: the famous Assagier players, troubadours of the imperial court of Magnamund. If you wish to stop and question these traveling minstrels, turn to 37. If you wish to ignore them and let them pass, turn to 126. Now, just to make sure I didn't... So, because I was at 160. No, wait. Turn to 68. I am forgetting where I was. Just I wanted to double check and make sure I turned to the right place. Okay. 86. And then turn to 273. Yeah, so this is where we are. Okay. I did not choose the wrong place. I am questioning myself. So it seems like the total voting is for stop and question. Let's turn to 37. Oh, geez, we're getting lots of illustrations, aren't we? That's kind of cool. Like, illustration after illustration. Normally, you don't run into many of these. You signal the driver to stop. The wagon's hauled, and a small, moon-faced man in a bright pink tunic throws open the rear door of the leading carriage. He shouts and curses the driver as he descends the ladder, pausing only to adjust the cummerbund that barely covers his huge stomach. Seeing your men, he lets out a strangled shriek and fumbles for a short sword hanging at his side. "Bandits! Robbers!" he cries, and wrestles to free his sword from its ornate scabbard. A row of anxious faces appears at the wagon windows, but the expression soon changes to smiles when they recognize your Summerlending uniforms. "Calm yourself, Yesu," shouts an elderly woman. "They are Summerlending rangers. They will not steal your gold." Laughter ripples along the carriages as the little fat man suddenly unsheaths his sword with such force that he spins around and tumbles to the ground. "You must forgive, Yesu," says the old woman. "He means you no harm. Raider's Road has made him a nervous wreck." You question the old woman, asking her where they have come from and their destination. "Where did you come from? Where are you going?" You learn that they are a troupe of players and have journeyed many miles from their native land of Cloasia. Cloasia? That's what I'm going to go with. Cloasia, in the east. They last played for the people of Eshnar, but it was a disappointing show. It seems that the town was quiet as the grave. Those who did come to see them were a sad and sorry crowd. They are now bound for Homeguard, and hopefully a more appreciative audience. "Light is fading," remarks the old woman. "Perhaps you and your men will camp with us tonight? We would deem it an honor, and would be happy to entertain you with songs and dancing." You notice a hopeful look in the eyes of your men as they await your decision. So, do we want to keep morale up and camp with, or press on? So if you wish to set up camp with the troubadours, turn to 182. If you decide to press on to Ruinon, turn to 247. I'm guessing something interesting will probably happen if we hang out with them. I mean, they seem on the level, but we also might get in a fight. So, might be fun. One vote for camp with. Quiet, I'm sneaking you all on the flight. Shh. Make sure to use your camouflage skill. If you think you hear anyone coming, use your sixth sense. And hide your phone with mind over matter. Sneaky snacks. Okay, so the decision is 2 votes for camp with, 1 for press on. So we're going to camp with them. Let's see what happens. 182. The wagons are drawn into a circle and you set up camp inside. Rangers posted patrol the perimeter. The troubadours construct a small stage onto which strides Yesu. He calls for silence before announcing the title of their play. Yay, camping! The Brave Warriors of Summerland, a choice that meets with hearty approval of your men. During the performance, you notice something very odd. Not only is one of the actors using a real sword, but it is a type of sword only issued to officers of the Summerlanding cavalry. After the play, you approach the man to question him about the sword. He looks at you nervously and makes a dash for the darkness of the perimeter of wagons. So we do have the skill. So the question actually is, do we use our Kai skills or let him go? Because it's the third option is nullified by the fact that we have them. So it says, if you wish to give chase and have either the Kai discipline of tracking or hunting, we have both, we would turn to 332. So then we skip the second one, and if you decide to let him go, return to your men by turning to 165. Yeah, that seems shady as heck. So 2 votes for using the Kai skill. Give chase. Jeez, even with this gigantic thing, I'm still getting through it. Seven viewers. Slam it. Yep, looks like 2 votes for using the Kai skill. Oh, there's a third one at the last minute. Seems it's pretty solidified to use the Kai skill. So let's go ahead and go to 332. Is it 332? Yep. Just making sure I had it right. Although the wagons are shrouded in darkness, your Kai sense reveals to you the actor's hiding place. You climb the ladder at the rear of the large caravan, push open the door with your weapon, and enter. Turn to 222. In the plush, candlelit interior of the cavern, you find the actor cowering beneath a blanket in the far corner. You flick the blanket aside and ask the petrified man to explain how he came to possess such a fine sword. I bought it in Eshnar, he stammers, his eyes wide with fear, from the innkeeper of the Pick and Shovel Tavern. He grasps the sword by the blade and offers it to you. If it is your sword I have unwittingly bought, I am truly sorry. Here, please take it. You grip the brass hilt and examine it closely. There is no doubt. It is a Summerlending cavalry sword, but the inscription on the blade makes your heart miss a beat. Captain Ramir Duval, Kingsguard Regiment. If you wish to keep the sword, mark it on your action chart as a weapon. I'm thinking our second weapon, our regular one, is a broadsword, and part of me, like, he bought it, he should get a sword, but this one belongs to Duval. So I'm thinking we leave the broadsword with the dude for, hey, you bought something, so here you go. But we keep Duval's sword, like maybe having Duval's sword will be like, if you have Duval's sword, turn to so and so. Gonna head to bed. Have a nice night, everyone. Good night, Sapporo. I think we're gonna, let's see, trade the man. Yep. So I'm thinking either, depending on how things go, we'll either go to 9:30 my time or 10. So I'll see how we are at around 9:30. If we're in a good group, we'll go to 10. Let's see. Duval's sword. Because at this point, like with the summer sword, you might, like any other weapon that we have, is just going to be more of a story piece. Like, would it make sense for the story? Like, would it make it, like, treating it like a special item in that sense? Because there's no real other reason to not use the summer sword. However, technically, way later in the game, there are apparently situations where having the summer sword will make your life harder. Weirdly enough. Don't know about that. But they actually have weapons to replace that in that case. I don't know the full details, but I just think that's interesting. But for now, Summer Sword's kind of like the only thing we really need as far as weapons go. I'm also out now. Good luck, artist. Be safe. Have a safe journey. Okay, we're going to turn to 165. You return to the Troubadour stage in time for a meal that has been prepared by your hosts. The steaming broth smells most appetizing. Now here's what's interesting. If you wish to accept the meal, turn to 319. If you decline the food, you must now eat a meal from your backpack or lose 3 endurance points. Well, that's weird. Why would they give you the option of eating it or not? So, poll. Alright. Eat theirs. Eat ours. There we go. So right now we can either eat theirs or eat our own. I don't know if maybe it's a situation where we've had so many times where we've been fed that we're nervous now to eat, and they're going to see it as a big insult. Like, there's a chance to insult them essentially by not eating their food, and it's perfectly fine. Or it's yet another poisonous situation, you know? It's like, at this point, this could be a false flag. Well, we have one vote for eating their food. All right. Turn to 319. Said we can die early. Okay. The food is delicious. You eat your fill and make preparations for a good night's sleep. At dawn, you and your company bid farewell to the traveling players and continue your mission to Runan. Now pick a number, random number from the number table. Yeah, I'm gonna guess there's probably a chance that we could like insult them by saying no thank you. So, and it starts a whole business. So now random number. It's almost like you're rooting for us to die. Well, I figure if you're gonna die, if you're gonna pick the bad choices, pick them early in the game, not when you're almost at the end. That's what I'm thinking. All right, roll a 5. So 0 to 4, 5 to 9. So let's turn to 171. I think it'd be annoying to get like 3 hours into a game and then you die versus like an hour. Mile after mile, you ride across the flat and desolate landscape surrounding the Ruinan Pike. Yet, in spite of the uninspiring view, your men seem in fine spirits. They sing rousing marching songs to relieve the tedium of the journey and help to allay fears of what may lie ahead. During the afternoon, storm clouds gather above the peaks of the Derncrag Mountains to the west, and the roll of distant thunder warns of imminent rain. It is late in the afternoon when your scouts sight a coaching tavern. On the highway ahead, it is a large stone building that happens to be fortified. If you wish to stop at the tavern for the night, turn to 63. If you decide to brave a possible storm and continue riding south, turn to 141. So, choice. Stop at tavern. Brave possible storm. I'm really glad I have these polls now. So let's see, what do we know about it? It's a large stone building and it's been fortified. Seems to be for coaches, so I'm guessing that's why it's fortified. Also fortified because we're dealing with the area with a lot of raiders. But there might be bad guys instead. If we keep going, we might be fine, or might be better off in a storm than we would be with possible bad guys, but it could be worse. So it's kind of 50-50. Okay, so one vote for stop at tavern. Well, let's see what's in the tavern, I guess. Let's see, so that was 63. The sounds of a tolling bell drifts across the barren landscape. Window shutters slam down, but eyes still peer at you from the arrow slits carved in the walls. You draw your company to a halt outside the wide tavern doors. We are summerlending. We seek shelter for the night, and fodder for our mounts, you shout. There's a long pause before a voice answers your call. So it's a 50-50 whether they believe you, I guess. Okay, let's see what happens. They're either going to say tell us to saw it off or like show some sort of proof. That's a 1. Let's see if that was good or not. 259. Oh, I was right. Go away, shouts a nervous voice. We're a tavern, not a barracks, shouts another. You try to reason with them, but they are adamant. They will not let you enter. You have no choice but to continue along the highway. Turn to 141. Well, so much for that choice. You have not ridden far when a storm cloud breaks directly overhead and torrential rain crashes down. Within minutes, the dry and dusty highway is transformed into a quagmire. It will be impossible to set up camp in this storm, so you resolve to continue to ride all night in the hopes that the storm will soon pass. During your night ride, you must eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. By the morning, the rain has ceased, and you and your men are now very tired from the ordeal. Turn 253. Well, let's go ahead and... Actually, we can ignore that meal if we want to, because we have hunting. So let's go ahead and do that. Because we can always throw away the rations later if we need to, or because there are times in which you can't hunt and you need to eat. So maybe saving those rations for then. But because we have hunting, we can skip using a meal. So let's turn to 253. You are about to order your men to make camp when a scout gallops towards you from the east. He points to a line of horsemen on the horizon. Bandits, he cries. You estimate that there are at least 200 of them, and they are riding in your direction. If you have reached the Kai rank of Warmorn, you possess 8 Kai rank skills, turn to 72. If you have not yet done that, turn to 135. Well, we have, because we've done all the rest of the games, all the rest of the books, so that puts us at 8 ranks. So we'll turn to 72. I guess that shows, hey, I got a lot of experience, so I'll know something. The flat wildlands offer no cover in which to hide from the bandit horde. You know that if you are to avoid combat with your enemy, which vastly outnumbers you, you must split up your company and try to outrun them. You detach a troop of 10 rangers to follow you, and send the remainder off towards the west in hopes that they may lure the bandits away to the Derncrag Mountains. With one last glance at the enemy, you lead your 10 rangers on a deadly race across Ruin Pike. Turn to 11. Oh dear. Your tactics have worked. The bandits ignore your small group of horsemen and pursue the others towards the west. Once they reach the wooded foothills of the Derncrag Mountains, your rangers will have no difficulty evading the enemy among the densely packed firs. When the bandits have disappeared from view, you call a halt and allow your men to rest. In spite of the number of men you have lost, they are still eager to continue the mission. Pick a number from the random number table again. All right. 0. Yay! 51. Why do I feel like that's not a good choice? You've been riding for over 4 hours when you see a flock of birds. They are black and very large and are swooping around the brow of a distant ridge. So, if you investigate or ignore, but we have animal kinship. Since we have animal kinship, we're going to use that. 227. Because that's more like it's going to inform our decision of ignore or continue. You identify the birds as carrion crows, a despicable breed of wildland scavengers. Whenever a creature lies ahead in the wastelands, while it lies dead in the wastelands, you can be sure to find a host of these loathsome predators. Now, knowing, well, that seemed obvious though. If you decide to take a closer look at what they are eating, turn to 328. If you'd rather ignore them and continue your ride, turn to 120. So, choice. Ignore and continue. There we go. So the question is, do we wish to investigate the carrion or ignore and continue on our way? There seem to be a lot of situations where we get to investigate things. But overall, it's been pretty low key if you did. So the final choice is vote for investigate carrion. All right, so let's go ahead and investigate. Where'd it go? Here we go, 328. As you reach the top of the ridge, a gruesome sight meets you. The bodies of men and horses lie scattered across the shallow valley beyond, their bones picked clean by the scavenging crows. You hear the gasps of horror as your men recognize the armor and tattered white uniforms of these skeletons, for they were once your countrymen, Summerland and guards of the king's cavalry. They must have died in battle, for the corpses of bandit warriors lie entwined among them. 40 brave soldiers, nearly half of the squadron that left Home Guard 1 month ago, now lie before you. It is with heavy heart that your men set about the grisly task of burial. As you ride away from the Valley of Death, you are comforted only by the knowledge that Captain Duval was not among those you buried. Turn to 120. Yeah, this is definitely good to know rather than not. So it seems like it's better to investigate things because we're on an investigation. That's the whole point of this mission is, hey, what happened? So ignoring things might not be the best route to take. After many hours of riding, you reach a highway junction. A large signpost indicates two destinations: south to Ruinan, 60 miles, or east to Eshnar, 40 miles. Let's check out the map. So we are... Oops. Right there. So we are trying to head towards Ruinan, so I'm not sure why we would necessarily head east. Like, unless there's something special there that I'm not aware of. But let me set up... Sorry, I'm trying to change the map. This can get really irritating when click and holds don't always want to work. Perfect. And so the choice south goes straight down towards Ronan. That's where we're trying to check out. East goes towards Eshnar. I'm not sure why we would go to Eshnar though. I mean, I guess that just gives us the sense of like an open world. Or maybe just going off the track will like either kill us or make us find something interesting. It's kind of like in video games where you go off the track, that's where you find all the extra loot. I have no idea, but we have the choice. And I think, especially since like everyone's having to head to bed, everyone's having to, basically head out today. We will stop at in the next 10 minutes or so, and we will pick this up next week. Sorry, I spent a lot of time kind of updating y'all and chatting instead of actually getting going with the game. Just been kind of working really hard the past 24 hours, like pretty much straight, with a little nap in between, to get everything ready for y'all. And I was kind of excited to tell y'all about it rather than actually, you know, get started playing the game. Thank you, Sloan. I kind of get like an excited Jack Russell Terrier. I'm like, oh, hey, guys, guess what? Guess what? So the choice is for south. Okay. There's some noise that I'm not hearing. Guess I should switch to daytime or. Dude, you should be proud. Achieving affiliate is an awesome achievement. Should be talking. Thank you, Dream. You had quite the hand in that. Let's go to mountain sounds now. How about that? There we go. Okay. So let's go south. We're going to turn to 33. Jeez. It is almost dark when you reach the edge of a densely forested valley. You can just make out the highway disappearing into the trees ahead and catch sight of a signpost pointing towards the south. You are now only 40 miles from Ruinan, but your men are tired and in need of food and rest. If you wish to set up camp at the edge of the forest, turn to 74. If you wish to send some men, just try to bridge the gaps, build relationships, reach whatever they need. You work hard. Many avenues of life, and you deserve the win. Thank you, Dream. I really appreciate that. Goat. You want a goat? Here we go. Choice. So camp. Send some men ahead in the valley to scout for bandits. So scout. Decided to go without food and sleep and press on into Ruinan as quickly as possible. Turn to 251. That sounds dangerous. All right. So here we have three choices. We can camp right here, or before camping or deciding camp, we can send some men ahead into the valley to make sure there are no bandits, or just press on and get there fast. Now, I'd like to actually... So Dauntless, like a lot of her focus is on kind of what you were talking about, Dream. Hooking people up with the things that they need. Mine is a little bit more like, I want to get to a place where I have a budget and I can put artists to work. The Dream, you're thinking scout ahead? Like, I want to hire. It's like, oh, you're really good at audio. I need that. Oh, you're really good at graphic design. Come here. Oh, you're good at CG. I definitely need that. Hey, cameraman, actors. You know, let's give y'all a decent wage instead of the people who around here who normally take advantage of you or say, hey, can you do it for free? I mean, I understand doing it for free. I'm Poe. But, like, that's what I want. It's the people who have the money and are like, nah, you'll do it for free. All right, 1 vote for Scout. So let's go ahead and do that. 139. Why did I feel like I heard a sound earlier? But like I found like I missed a sound. Slow, you're fading. Yeah, it's 9:30 about, so I'm gonna we'll have maybe 1 or 2 more choices, and then we're gonna call it a night. Been there, done that. Problem for me with a lot of people are their own worst enemies and obstacles. Yeah, I mean that's mine. Absolutely. I have so many wishes and things I want to get done, but I feel like I get through the day, I'm like, I feel like I got almost nothing done. Like I want to get all these like I have a script. I wrote a script, a pilot for an Elite Dangerous web series. I have this whole idea for like a 3-season arc. But it's like always something that keeps me otherwise occupied, and it's been sitting for years now that I haven't done it. And I feel like I would accomplish quite a lot if I actually just got down and did it. But it's like I'm super ADD. I get either hyper focused or can't focus at all. So no, I get that. I've oftentimes been that. Still am. All right, you send 3 of your men into the valley with orders to scout the highway and its forested borders for bandits. Before the scouts leave, you remind them to report back within 2 hours. You are hungry and must now eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. In spite of fatigue, your men are now alert and ready for action, for it has been over 3 hours since your scouts departed and none of them have returned yet. If you wish to send 3 more scouts into the wooded valley, turn to 206. If you wish to wait until dawn before investigating their disappearance, turn to 330. If you decide that it is far too dangerous to stay here, you can ride east towards the town of Eshnar by turning to 92. Oh, no, that's interesting. Let's call it here for the night. Let's think about that. Because that has some potential dangers. Like, maybe it's too dangerous to go that way. Maybe the reason why we have to go east is because you just can't go straight south.